It's Friday night football here on the Audible. Kim Bokamper, Joe Rose with you. It's been a while since we've been out to a high school football game. Quite frankly, it's been a while since they played high school football down here. Teams are just getting back in. I was just talking to our good friend Larry Bluestein a little while ago, who kind of monitors and controls this whole high school scene here, right?
Yeah.
And the teams have played 2 games when they were about 5 weeks into the season, and these teams are just getting to their third games of the year. By the way, our good friend and pal Nat Moore, his team Edison, had a little rough day out here. What'd they go? 56-7.
I think 54 and had 54 and they actually scored late on the game when the other team ran a trick play and they messed up.
Up 49-0. They tried to run that little flea flicker or something.
Yeah, Matt, I just want to let you know your team was struggling tonight a little bit.
So tonight, Joe, we have Northwestern who's probably the number one team in Miami-Dade County, and certainly a team that can compete at the national level in high school football, and a team that's also got a national championship title under their Booker T. Washington coming to play those two teams. And Joe, those are 2 storied programs in Miami-Dade County. They've got you can just count over and over the number of Division I players that have come out of both schools, and you can look around the National Football League and see a number of guys that have come out of those 2 schools too. So 2 very good programs. Booker T 1-1, 2-0 for Northwestern, as they've just kind of rolled over people now. It should be a very, very interesting game tonight, Joe.
We've got a handful of teams that we talk about with a lot of D1 players. They're really good. Booker T and Northwestern. This will be a great game tonight. This will be by far the best game that we've had, Bo. And then on top of that, these guys who play Central, they play Norland, the whole group. Carroll City's in there. A lot of them play their games here, so it should be a lot of fun over the next couple weeks to see how it plays out.
We're going to talk to the principals from each school. We'll talk to the coaches from each school on the program tonight. But before we get into that, Joe, let's kind of look at the Dolphins coming off of a 1917 win, a comeback win in Los Angeles against the Chargers in a game that, Joe, this has been a 60-minute football team, and they needed all 60 minutes to get the job done there. But, with everything that they had gone through, with all the turmoil that went on with this football team, with losing Lawrence Timmons the morning of the game, somehow, some way, they're able to keep their focus, play good football. Certainly there's some things they need to shore up as they get ready to move on down the season. But coming away with a win, I think was a very, very monumental thing for them to get the job done, just with everything they had gone through.
Bo, the starters hadn't played since the Philadelphia game, so you're talking 3 weeks off. The Timmons thing that pops up. And Adam Gase refuses, along with the character of the football players, they play the game, to we're not going to let anything, there's going to be no distractions with this team. We're going to play. Well, they actually came back. You look at the way they played in the fourth quarter, started making plays. Everybody looks at the field goals, which obviously were important, but look at all the big plays made on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and he talked about, he talked about this football team and he talked about himself saying, hey, I wasn't really comfortable with my play calling early on, couldn't get into a rhythm, and that's where the kind of conservative look in the first half was after really taking the ball right down the field. I thought they were going to just stuff it down their throats going for a touchdown. They end up with 3 points, and then after that, they don't take the lead again until there's a minute and 20 seconds left in that football game, and then they're able to make it hold up. So you get a good win on the road, Joe. Now you go up to New York, and New York is a team that's they're under duress. They've got quarterback problems. The coach is on the hot seat. They've traded away one of their best defensive players. They've given up 370 yards rushing in 2 games.
In the NFL.
They're a team that look. They're not a great football team, but Joe, you've been around, played in, and been around way too many Dolphin Jet games to think that they can just go up there and roll their helmets out on the field and come away with a win. It's going to take another big effort by this football team. And, Joe, this is a football team that's going to need their best effort each and every week they go out.
I'm glad you said that, Bo. We're not good enough to take anybody lightly in the league. And I go back to my rookie year, Bo. The Dolphins were 8-8. The Jets were 4-12. And 2 of their wins were against the Miami Dolphins. So they're going to give you their best effort, Bo. You know it. It may get sloppy. They may not have the talent, but they're going to play hard.
And I think, Joe, I think this is the way this Dolphin coaching staff goes about it. this is about themselves.
Yeah.
If we play our game, if we do what we're supposed to do, we feel confident that we can play and beat just about anybody in the National Football League. And this is one of those games that has to be that. They've got to go out and play their best game. Play their best game. I have no doubt that they can beat this team. But you go out there,
turn it
stick
over
it up
3
a
or
little
4
bit,
times.
you turn the ball over,
you're
maybe you're out of sync a little bit, and all you need to do is give them a little bit of momentum up there at the Meadowlands, and it turns into a dogfight for you.
Yeah. Last thing you want is 6 minutes left, and you're in a dogfight trying to come back as the Jets are playing their first home game of the season. You don't want to be in that, and you don't want this one to get away, Bo, because the schedule, not to bring up who you're playing, but you've seen them all play, and they got a bunch of good teams. You look at Atlanta, AFC West, the 3 teams left in that, Patriots twice. You got some tough games coming up. Take care of business this week.
No doubt about it. Hey, we're going to get back to that. We'll talk a little bit on the backside, but we got the coach of the Booker T with us, Ice Harris, who's always done a good job down here in South Florida.
Coach Harris,
one of the legendary coaches down here.
Coach, good to see you, bud. How you doing, man? Always good to see you.
Nice to see you. Got that national championship ring on his finger as well.
Oh, he got state championships. He got
plenty of jewelry, huh?
This been getting lucky every now and
then.
Yeah.
That's find an acorn every now and then. Hey, talk about your football team a little bit, and talk about how you're able year in and year out to put a program out here with just quality players, kids that do the right thing, and are able to move on to Division I schools, Division II schools, wherever, and continue their career, and more importantly than that, continue their educations.
That's the biggest part. I think with the coaching staff, we have been doing a great job putting together a great group of men that really understand how important it is with education, their development, and a lot of the guys that's on my staff is played for me.
Yeah.
And they went to college and come back, and they'll be a part of development of young people that they've been a part of. So that's been really helping us with the tradition in terms of being consistent every day, with knowing how to come to work, knowing how to train in the off season, and know a great job how to be responsible in the classroom. So we have classroom responsibilities and standards that got to happen before they hit the field, and we check them every day.
Coach, I want to ask you, boy, your schedule, all you guys. I look, and forget going out of state like everybody's doing. I just look, you don't need to down here in Dade County. You look at it, whether you're playing Central, come back and play Northwestern, and some of the other schools you play. How much does that help when you get around? I think it helps for the playoffs. Even if you take a hit, 1 or 2 losses, just makes you guys that much better in the playoffs. Do you feel that way?
I feel that's real big for us. You know, like all of us coached together at some point. Like me and Coach Atwood Max, we went to high school together. We started off at Miami High coaching together. We coached at Northwestern. We coached at Central. We had several opportunities that we did a lot of things with Roland Smith, Billy Rowe. All of us has that mentality to understand how
some
important
pretty good coaches
it is
you just rolled off right
there.
That's Dade County right there, man.
To put our kids in the best position possible that they are really prepared, to go to college and be able to compete in college right away as a true freshman.
That's one of the things that you do. You like to play a little up-tempo game. You want you guys to break the huddle and get out there. You want to keep the other team on their heels a little bit as best you can, don't you?
Oh, definitely. We definitely want to make sure we want to play smart, want to play fast, and we want to make sure that we understand, like, with maximum discipline, and we want to be in better condition. We want to be able to show our condition situation. We might not be the biggest team that we play when we play in this big league that we play in here in South Florida, but we only got one thing that we try to focus on, being in the best condition, and we train like a track team.
I'd be running plays every 8 or 9 seconds, too, if I had that group of wide receivers you have. He left that group. How good are they?
They're really solid, really going. I think we have a lot of the seniors that really set the tone this year in terms of understanding the process, like Taquan Thornton, Willie Davis, Zaire Turner. And then we have our freshmen and 10th graders, Ja'Cory Brooks, Teddy Richardson, Javon Ferguson. We got Jalen Richardson. Those kids are really stepping up. That we got about 8 guys that we running in and out of there to make sure that we don't miss a beat in terms of. But we have a quarterback. And that's a key thing. We have a guy that can really make a difference in terms of his smartness, how he make his decisions, and do great things, and really orchestrate this offense that make it be able to go to the level that we needed to be on.
Joe talked a little bit about traveling, playing some of these national powerhouses around, and going up to American Heritage, playing some of the powerhouses down here, and going out and playing those types of schools. What does it do for your program, and what does it do for the kids to go through that, to experience not being away from coming home and doing all those things that come along with those types of games.
And that's one thing we understand about that as coaches here in South Florida. We always trying to prepare our kids for where we're sending them at.
Yeah.
You know, and college is where they're going. So now we're doing a great job here in South Florida playing these teams, you know, outside of Dade County, outside of state of Florida, to give these kids not just an opportunity to be able to experience something different, but preparing them for that college level, how to go out of town, how to mandate themselves, and how to be able to create a new atmosphere and be able to play at a high level.
We got a question for you coming in through Periscope. Duke Dennis, Coach Harris, with the way the game has changed, how important is it to properly coach kids up?
It's definitely, you got to make sure you got to do a lot of research. That's one thing I feel we do well in South Florida in terms of research, especially with the tackling, with the concussion, and everything that's going on. And then you got to monitor with the college and the NFL how they practice. You really got to structure how you practice to make everything work the right way in terms of how you training kids to stay healthy, where you can get them to the game and keep them safe as possible, where they can understand where they're going at in college, knowing how to understand that tempo at the same time, that you might not tackle and hit the ground as much, but when you get to the game, you have to be able to put it on.
All right, Coach, go ahead.
I'll just tell you one thing, Bo, before we go. I know they got Northwestern tonight. Through the years, those Booker T Central games have been some of the best games. Right down to where I might as well show up the last 5 minutes of the game. Huh? How good has that become? And I know there's been some great matchups. You got another one tonight. But, my gosh, I sat there with Jimbo Fisher one week, and he couldn't believe it. I was like, man, this is it's like this every time you play.
It's just like when we got coaches that we worked together before, we understand what we want. We've been to the wall table together with each other, so we know how to prepare our guys and make sure that our student athletes going to be fired up and ready. But those Central games is big. But I've been checking the history of this game, and it's been real big. I went all the way back to 2003. Watching these games all the way up when Ja'Cory Harris and Brandon Harris and all those guys, Devon Johnson, and those were some huge games at that point, and it's been better ever since from that point.
So, Coach, appreciate you stopping by. Wish you the best of luck tonight. We got to bring
appreciate you guys.
Bring Max over here.
Great.
Don't be
mixing
it up a little bit while you're changing seats here. We don't have to have Joe out there come and break you guys up before the game starts. I know how.
Hey, they're all good. No, he's the president of the club right there. You're good.
There you go.
You're good.
Good guys. Max Edwards, the head coach at Miami Northwestern, 2-0.
Oh no, he got a good team.
You got a top dog team. You got a top dog team in town here, Coach. Tell us a little bit about your football team and what you expect tonight.
Well, I expect them to play hard for 48 minutes. They're very excited about playing a rival. They like Booker T. We have Central and Cal City, but Booker T and Northwestern go way back. So it's a big game for the kids regardless of the records. They're going to play hard, and they're going to play for 48 minutes.
Coach, I just got to say this. Through the years, the last 20 years of watching high school football, I don't know if anybody's got more of a pressure cooker than coaching at Northwestern, where everybody has unbelievable expectations. How have you accepted that? How is that for you? And, of course, you got a really good team this year.
Well, I've been there before. I was there earlier when we was winning state championships and the national championships, so I got an opportunity to come back as a head coach. So I understand the pressure.
Okay.
And I wouldn't want to coach for nobody that didn't want to win.
Gotcha.
So I'm okay with the community pressuring us to win, and we know how it is. So we didn't come here to lose, so we come here to win. So it's really no pressure for us. You just go out there playing for the community.
You are the coach of the Northwestern team, but you're the coach of the communities team. And they've all got to say so.
Because they all went to Northwestern. Everybody went to Northwestern.
All there, and they all got their opinions, good or bad, on what's and I don't think they're very shy of letting you know one way or another what they think about the way things are going, right?
Not one bit. The community really expects their opinion.
Yeah.
And like you say, the expectation is high for the community.
Yeah.
So the kids try to work hard on and off the field to fulfill those expectations.
I'll tell you, it's great, though, having Northwestern back. It was down a little bit for a while to have it back to where it is right now, where people are talking about it being one of the best teams again. It's good. I think it's good for business here in South Florida of high school football, where it's as good as anywhere.
I think it's exciting for Northwestern to be back, and then you have the team like Central, New Orleans, and Cal City up. So they just make the whole county real competitive, the Columbuses and the South Ridge. And like people say, we play the best football in South Florida in the nation.
Coach, what do you have to do to beat this Booker T bunch here?
get lucky.
Yeah.
I think we got to be lucky, try to play disciplined football, not make mistakes. I know they're going to make mistakes, but the team that make the least mistakes probably going to come out the winner.
You guys are going to be amped up. Both teams are going to be sky high for this one. It's one of those games that if you can't get up for a game like this, you're never going to get up. And so you expect the fireworks to come out pretty quick in this one?
Very, very fast because, social media.
Yep.
Right now what the kids do, we can't
No
control
surprises.
that. So they are saying things to each other to hype each other up. And most of these kids play optimists with each other. Yeah. So they know each other and they're excited about playing. Some of them going to the same college. So, this is the last time they really probably get to face each other. So they're very excited.
Coach, how was the layoff for you guys? It was been tough. We've been kind of watching. You worry about the rust factor when you lose your team going through a hurricane and everything else, or feel like guys are ready after that and just excited to get back and play?
Well, I think it's going to be some rust factor. I'm excited to see them play myself after 2 weeks to see where they at and to see how much they love this game of football.
Oh, they love it. Yeah. There ain't no questioning down here. No, there ain't no question there.
Hey, Coach, what about the environment in high school football around here now with all the teams, all the top teams going out nationally and playing teams and playing the Bishop Gormans and playing the, all the Don Boscos and whatever part of the country, Hoover and wherever you go, playing all those teams. Does that kind of raise the level of expectation in South Florida, both Miami-Dade and Broward County, that, hey, this is the kind of programs we have, and we want the nation to see just what the football down here in South Florida is all about?
I think right now high school football is at its finest due to the fact that we can't go across the country and play these other teams that, so-called is the greatest this, the greatest that, and to give our kids the opportunity to travel. A lot of kids don't get to travel. So to get them an opportunity to play other kids in competition is one of high school football right now is at the highest peak that it can be. It's on TV. Right. They traveling. So the kids get a lot of exposure. They get exposure from colleges, and it's fun for them. It's very fun. Right now, it's exciting being a high school football coach. Yeah,
hey, Bo, and IMG.
Yeah.
That's coming up, too. I mean, it's like they got this game, Booker T, and then it's on, and then there's some more teams in that little scale, right? Central, Carroll City. These guys, there ain't no backing down from anybody.
No. I mean, look, it's been that way for a long time down here. Got a question here from Anthony Shake Felicio, Northwestern, a.k.a. the West, on the rise. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we're on the rise. I think the kids is getting the feeling to come back and is working hard on and off the field to bring the winning tradition back at Northwestern.
Good.
Hey, Larry Bluestein been pumping you up on that radio pretty good too, man. About, hey, I'm telling you, I think Northwestern's a team to beat down here. You hear that from people that know the game, see the players you have, see the talent on both sides, see the players you had coming back. You're okay with that, huh? Like, you want it up there with the Centrals and everybody else.
I have no problem with that. I have no problem being one of the teams to beat because I want to be one of the teams to beat. Good. I think it's best to play the best competition. Yep. That's what this game about, to have fun. And like I said, my favorite Super Bowl is the Jets and the Colts.
Yep.
So this game is played, and anybody can win it.
That's right.
Coach, appreciate you stopping by. Good luck tonight, and good luck for the rest of the season, man.
Thank you.
Good job.
Coach, nice to have you. Thanks.
Keep it going. Going to bring the principals in now from both schools, both the Aristide brothers, Wallace.
Hey, we got to find out. We got to find out
Wallace over here. I got Wallace
find out how these guys.
Wallace from Northwestern, William from Booker T. Now, how two brothers get to be principals at two schools in Miami-Dade County, and now competing each other, getting ready to try to do some damage out there?
I think if we had to, we both were teachers for a while, and one of the things that we did, we were able to motivate each other to want to pursue this. The good thing about having an actual sibling doing exactly what you do, we could always play things off of each other, learn from each other, and we always are here to support each other. So we're very blessed. We're at two of the toughest schools in Dade County, but at the same time, we have two of the greatest positions in the school district.
All the good things. Yeah, he is. I know when this night's over, he's going to be talking trash.
We get excited. I think this is tremendous for our community. I mean, coming back from Hurricane Irma, this gives a sense of normalcy. We're back. You got Northwestern Bulls. You got Booker T. Washington, the hearts of the community, historical schools that are well known for tremendous football programs. And we're looking at programs that have been nationally ranked, schools that people recognize the contribution we've had in this community when it comes to high school football.
I was going to ask both of you that question. I think football and academics obviously are number one, but having football and the pride in the community and what football programs when they're as good as these two programs, and you go back in the history of all the greats and players in the NFL and the alumni from 40, 50 years ago. Says a lot, right? Football's pretty important to these schools.
I think so. You know, football is a part of the fabric of the community in the sense that it's a place that people could come on a Friday or Saturday night and enjoy a good game. You meet old friends and you get a chance to compete. Booker T, Washington, and Northwestern have been playing each other for years. You know, there was an old Turkey Bowl. The old folks talk about that. I don't know if you guys remember that. Back in the 50s and 40s and so forth. And that was
man, Larry Little was involved in the Turkey Bowl, right?
Larry's he's a great Booker T graduate, too. Yeah,
baby.
Larry. And what's interesting, Larry actually coached my brother in college.
He coached me at Bethune.
And he's a graduate of Booker T. So there's a lot of connection between both schools.
Big time. Tremendous connection. I think when you talk about the academics and success, both schools have had tremendous success over the last couple of years. We've demonstrated that we're not only on one leg, but we're on both feet. That we can do it athletically and we can do it academically and getting it done in the classroom. And that's exhibited by quite a number of players that we've had an opportunity to see to go to the next level, go to college, university, make sure they qualify at SAT, ACT, all those things have played a major role.
We've talked a lot about football so far tonight, but let's talk about your communities. Everyone's gone through the uproar of Hurricane Irma and the damage and everything, and schools have been closed. I think you guys are going back on Monday, I believe.
No, we're back.
You're already back.
We've been back.
So how are the communities and the students doing through all those events?
Well, one of the things that we're very proud of at Booker T, last week Friday, we actually had a hot meal drive going on over there where we had many of our teachers. We had a lot of folks from the school district that were there. It was our superintendent was there, and we're providing hot meals to so many families that are so needy and probably still didn't have power. So, you know, we felt good about that. A lot of our teachers came out, supported my administrators. Students were passing out meals. So those are some of the things. I know my brother, Northwestern, had a shelter, hurricane shelter himself, and he could speak on that.
Well, I think the hurricane shelter was very helpful. I mean, we did have commissioners. We had board members from District 2 that came out and supported quite a number of people in the communities, and some of our students were in the shelter. And when it was over, there was also an opportunity for us to reach out to students, make sure they got ice, make sure they got water, make sure they had some essentials. I thought that was important. And then coming back this week, we still had students for a couple of days with no power on Monday and Tuesday. They're just getting the power back. So one of the things the school district did, I thought was big. The next 5 days, next 5 weeks to be correct, everybody gets a chance to eat. You eat for free. You don't have to worry about it. I thought that was major.
What was interesting, I had a student this past Tuesday. He walked in because we're a uniform school, and I expect everybody to be in uniform. We're both, my brother and I are both strong with discipline. And I told the young man, hey, where's your uniform? You're supposed to be in uniform. And the kid pulled me to the side and said, Mr. Aristide, I don't even have power in my house. I'm here because this is all I have. And I felt bad, you know, and I said, well, why didn't you talk to me? I brought him in my office. I just happened to have some shirts and pants. I'm like, listen, do this until, you know, you get yourself together. And that made me feel good. But at the same time, he brought reality back. Mr. Aristide, I don't even have power in my house, so I understand.
Going through this and the time off, that's why I just think these football games you guys talked about are so important to band, community, getting them back out, what should be another great game between these two teams.
Another thing, you know, I think getting back to playing, getting back to this, getting back to Friday night football, it brings that sense of normalcy back.
Yes.
We haven't had normalcy for about a little over 2 weeks, 3 weeks down here in South. I don't care if you're in Dade County, Broward County, if you're on the West Coast, or in the East Coast, or in the Keys. It hasn't been normal for a long time here. And I think this brings everything back to a little bit of normalcy that I think is good for everybody involved.
Well, I'm looking at the fans. I'm looking at everybody. Everybody's engaged. Everybody's really into it. This game makes it something bigger than just football. This is an opportunity for everybody to rally around, come around each other, support one another, that whole unity, that whole family that you have in Overtown, in Liberty City, everybody coming together to enjoy. I think it's going to be a tremendous football game, and we'll see how it works out.
All right, well, guys, wish you best of
Thank
luck.
you so much.
I'm sure after this is over, there's going to be a little bit of,
I want to make it seem as, you know, We certainly have our moments now. And I'm sure we're going to have bragging rights for at least a good 2 or 3 days.
There you go.
But he's my brother. We're brothers.
You guys for what you're doing at your school.
Definitely.
I applaud you guys for what you've done.
Definitely.
Getting this back going and getting your guys back to normal and doing the help, whatever help you do for your students and your community. It's
great
certainly something you should be proud of, no doubt about that.
And thanks to you guys for what you do on a daily basis, giving back
it's our pleasure.
keeping sports a reality.
We appreciate
We
it.
both as kids going to the Orange Bowl and watching both of you all
That was
play.
Bo.
I remember Killer Beans.
You get on your side.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you,
Take care, guys.
All right,
Thank you again very, very much. Thank
Good
you.
luck. Great stuff there, and like
How good is that?
two-story programs, two
About
brothers.
two brothers, the two
principals.
of the big
That's
high school
fabulous.
football powerhouses in the inner city of Dade County. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love talking to the principals because they start talking about what they demand of their kids.
Right.
Education-wise,
Right.
discipline-wise, those things, and then talking to the coaches
It's
about
good
getting
to
these
hear.
guys out here. It's really good stuff. No doubt about that.
But make no mistake about it.
Oh no.
Like us, football's important. Bo.
Oh no, believe me, Joe. I mean, Joe, you've been around it a lot more than I have down here, and but football, football's big in Broward County. Come to Miami-Dade County, it ratchets up a little bit.
Well, think about this, Bo. It's just a little South Florida history here. St. Thomas Aquinas, 2 national championships. Booker T, a national championship. And Northwestern, a national champ. Bo, there's a zillion high schools. There's a zillion in California alone when you look around at the dominance here in South Florida.
Hey, Joe, I kind of talked about a little bit about how over the years these teams they've risen up because of going out and playing these schools, going out and putting their programs on the line.
That helps a lot.
It gets you. People see you around the country. Oh, those guys are pretty good down there. And it gets you in that mix. So it's to me the national championship thing is a relatively new kind of a decade, about in the last decade. Because back then, before that it was, hey, win your state championship.
Win your state, and that's it. Now these guys win so many state championships.
Now they're looking for that next level, and they do it. But
being able to do it is great.
I think this game right here, Joe, really is a great example of what the best of Miami-Dade County can put out in the field.
I totally agree
from a lot of and like we talked about, the communities are so behind these programs that there's a, like you said, the parents probably went to Northwestern, grew up going to Northwestern. Booker T, the same thing, and so they're just growing up watching their kids doing what they did back in the day.
You look at this game, and you go around and ask all the top Division I schools. They've all been to Traz Powell to watch these games on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night when they can. They have assistants down here recruiting. It's a big part of everything.
It is big. Hey, Joe, before we move on here, let's get back to the Dolphins a little bit and what's going on with them, and in particular the Lawrence Timmons situation, because that's always it's been a big question. I know you've dealt with it all week long, along with your stuff, and to me it's funny because it's another. First of all, I think Adam Gase handled the thing as well as you can handle it.
A young coach can't do any better.
Can't do any better. And beyond that, let's move beyond Lawrence Timmons. Chase Allen comes in, another guy, next man up. Next man up mentality.
He might end up being a really
Guys
good
have been here
linebacker.
for a long time. Makes a play on the first play of the game. Makes his presence felt. Mike Hall doing had 8-10 tackles, whatever he had throughout the course of the game. He played a great game. So it's just a continuation of what we saw last year. With guy goes down, next guy steps up and goes out and does a pretty darn good job. And I've kind of been a proponent of saying, hey, to me that's it's an indication of the guys you have on your team, the character of the guys you have on your team, but it's also an indication of the assistant coaches you have. And we don't talk about the assistant coaches enough. The job that they've done getting those guys ready to play. Chase Allen woke up in the morning thinking he's going to be run down on special teams, and that was going to be his job for the
starting
day.
Outside
and
linebacker.
All of a sudden, you're starting linebacker in the first game you ever played in the National Football League, and the guy certainly handled himself in a very, very good way.
I don't know how this is all going to play out this year. But, Bo, I will tell you, as far as chemistry goes, culture goes, and everything else that they built over there from players to coaches, as good as we've seen in a long time.
No doubt about it. Facebook, Rob Pete asks, what do you think the chances of the Dolphins extending Cutler's contract? I think it's too soon right now to make that determination. Obviously, you got Ryan Tannehill rehabbing to come back, and he's the guy that's been there, but – And Joe, we had a chance to talk to Jay Cutler before his first game, and he said, "Well, I came back from the air when he was asked, hey, do you think you would stay? If everything goes well here?" He goes, "Wow, I wouldn't be against that. I mean, look, if he comes out and plays well and puts his team on his back a little bit,
he plays well.
He'll be back.
He plays well. This team plays well, and goes through to think that he won't come back at age 34, 35. You look at all these top quarterbacks in the league are all in their mid to late 30s now, including a guy in his 40s. He'll be back and want to play.
Joe, before we had the coaches come on, I was going to ask you about Jay Cutler and your thought of look, we've seen him play one full game. Your thoughts on what you saw from Jay last week in L.A.?
Love the way he keeps plays alive.
Yep.
Love the way he steps up and slides and glides around underneath the pocket, got out, bought himself some extra time to make a touchdown throw and also to throw to Devontae Parker down the middle of the field. If we get some of that with that strong arm, and if he sees you isolated one-on-one on the outside, you better get open or be ready to catch because he's going to throw it to you and give you want to call it a 50-50 ball. He's going to trust his guys. He loves this group.
Joe, there's been a lot of talk about Jay Cutler. There was a lot of talk when he was in Chicago and, all the things that you heard, the negative things about Jay Cutler. All I've seen since he's come here, Joe, is a guy that's engaged with his football team, engaged with his teammates. I think he's got a close bond with Matt Moore, his backup. I think that helps him. And I asked him after the game about the team being young, and he says, let me tell you what, they're keeping me young. I go in that locker room after a win. This place is crazy. Right. So I've never been in a locker room after a win like these guys. They love it. They're into it. And I think he really enjoys, or so far, I mean, look, we still got a long way to go in this football season. But I think up to this point, I think he feels like he made the best decision he could have made, and I think he enjoys being right where he's at right now.
All right, so we've been around him a little bit off the field. I'm trying to think nicely how to do this. He's completely different than everything we've been told in Chicago.
Good guy, friendly guy.
Talked, I was waiting am I getting blown? No, he's great. Talks, likes to know, laughs, likes to tell jokes, likes to cut it up. Got a great relationship with Marino, with all of us. I thought it was great.
I think it's a good environment. I think it's a good environment for him, and I think he's enjoying it. El Chapo Jr., any chance for a letdown for the Finns against the Jets? Well, certainly something I'm thinking about, certainly something I'm worried about. I don't think there should be, and I don't think there's anything we've seen in this football team, Joe, over the last year in one game that leads you to believe this team isn't going to be ready to play. Because I don't think, no matter what happened last year, even that 1-4 stretch, this team always came out and gave you maximum effort. And I don't expect anything but that against the Jets.
Yeah, I think they're going to play hard. It's their second game. It's not like we're 1-7 in a row and we're gliding through. I expect they're going to play hard. But I'll tell you, Jets going to bring it.
Yeah.
I don't know what they have, Bo. I don't. I know they got 38-year-old journeyman quarterback starting. They got a bunch of average wide receivers.
They're a mess. That team is.
But they're going to give whatever, man.
Yeah.
It's their first home game. They're playing the Dolphins. They'll give it whatever they have. But the Dolphins, I expect to play hard.
Yeah. A Facebook question from Alex Pellegrini here. What do you guys think of Patrick Surtain Jr.? Best cornerback in the nation right now, right? Number one cornerback in the nation.
He is the number one rated cornerback. He's 6'1". He's been coached up by his dad.
That's not a bad.
He's a bump and run guy. He can run. I think it's fair to say he can go anywhere in the country.
And I tell you, Pat's you talk about taking over when Michael Rumph leaves. He's keeping that program up at a very, very high level.
Pat and Rondé Gadsden and some of the former Dolphin players over there coaching. They got a heck of a team.
Yeah, good stuff there. I just want to get through something. Oh, here we go. Another one. A Facebook, Dean Vianney. What do you guys think of Steen, Davis duo? Or either one of them long-term answer? Well, they both played last week. Steen started the game.
Steen got a little bit more.
Jesse Davis got in there. I think they're trying to see these guys in game situations, full games. Remember, Joe, we've lived through preseason games. These guys haven't played all that. Well, these guys have played a lot. Davis and Steen have played a lot, but they really haven't played with that first unit. And we forget that that last week was the first time we really had Mike Pouncey in there for the duration of a game for over almost a half of a year now. And like I said before, he's the glue that keeps this offensive line together. I think that's going to be. I think that duo is going to rotate in and out until one of those guys just steals the job.
I think Davis down the road. They think his upside.
Big
he's
guy.
going to be starting somewhere on that offensive line down the road.
Big guy. He's a tough guy. Gets a hold. He's not going to let up.
Love the upside. He's shown a lot. Played a lot of different positions in preseason.
Especially at a guard. Give me a biggest guy you can put in there. Take up space. No question about that. Yeah. Anthony Morale, what about the linebacker? What about the linebacker crew? Did we get help? Well, the odd thing about it, Joe, is I've talked about this week. For all that happened during the offseason, going out and getting Lawrence Timmons, re-signing Kiko, going to getting William Hayes, doing all these things to shore up your defense and shore up your linebacker play, going and drafting Raekwon McMillan. We started the game in L.A. with the same 2 linebackers we ended the game with the season with in Pittsburgh last year. And nothing against those 2 guys because they both played well in the game, but you kind of did a lot of work and spun your wheels, and here we are back again. And,
we thought Mike Hull was going to be running down on a kickoff team, be one of your best special teams player, and give you depth at linebacker. And here he is making 10 tackles in the first game in middle linebacker.
Ray Malaluga, another guy that they're waiting for him to got that hamstring. I think he's probably close to being ready to play. Whether they want to get him in here now or later, I don't think that he's going to play this week. I would be surprised if he played this week. But I think next week becomes a decision where he's probably to the point where he's a go or no go. Whether you want to activate him and get him out there or not and move. And that game would be the game in London against the New Orleans Saints.
Where you probably, because the Saints throw the ball so much, you're probably going to be in nickel most of the time where it's 2 linebackers, and then you get into it.
Well, you look at Chase, I think Chase had 10 to 12 snaps.
Right, because
they were going to be in a nickel. Look, the Dolphins want to be in nickel as much as they could in that game, just to offset that loss of Lawrence Timmons. I think, it's a work in progress. We'll see. But I think you have to be optimistic with what you saw from the guys last.
Defense.
Defense much better. And look, I don't. Anyone that watched that game realized that Mike Hull, struggled a little bit on the outside when they run that arrow pattern on him. He's got to find a way to either cheat out there or get out there, and because he can't run. He's not going to run down with those guys.
No,
he's not going to be. He's not going to be able to beat those guys just on a speed basis. But he's a smart guy. Can read formations, can see what they look at tendencies, and possibly find a way to cheat a little bit and get a little extra, a little extra, help himself a little bit more that way.
From those swing passes, not much, but he just got to cheat a little bit if he reads it, and I'm sure he will down the road. He got a little less than last week.
Joe, no surprise from what I've seen this preseason. Jay Ajayi came out smoking. That first look.
How fresh did he look?
If there's any question about him, the first time they handed him the ball, that run in itself was a thing of beauty.
Bo, now the big topic is, well, what about all the carries? Jay Ajayi wants the football.
Yes.
And he's going to be pissed if he's not playing.
Yes.
If he got cut back because everybody wrote, 28 carries, you got to cut back. Yeah, I think he wants to get Kenyon Drake, Damian some carries. But at the same time, Bo, that guy, he runs like that. You want to have it.
Look, a big
great decoy helps those wide receivers.
A big dose of Jay Ajayi early in the game makes him that much better late in the game. And you don't want to limit his carries if the best that you're going to see out of Jay Ajayi sometimes, and we saw it a number of times last year. We saw it in Buffalo. We saw it against Pittsburgh. We saw it where late in the game when he's beat those guys down, he breaks off a 50-yard run or something that's a difference maker for you.
Right.
You can't put him on a snap count and not have him out there at that point.
I know he didn't want to hear it this week. No. When he saw his story was these guys are taking carries potentially away from me because everybody's making a big deal.
Yeah.
He was pissed off.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, so that's it. So tonight here at Traz Powell, it's Northwestern and Booker T, one of the great matchups. So have time to get out here and catch the kickoff. They'll kick it off in about 20 or 15 or 20 minutes from now. So if you're anywhere in the neighborhood and you want to get out here and check it out, see some really good football, enjoy it. Should be a good one. And I tell you, Booker T would like nothing better than to upset Northwestern. And that would be.
They would like to get themselves some bowl tonight, man. There is no question.
All right, but that's going to do it for the Friday Night Football Audible edition.
Thanks, man. I'll see you on
Joe
the plane
Rose,
tomorrow,
Kim Bokamper. We're heading up to New York tomorrow. Yeah. It'll be the Jets and the Dolphins, 1 o'clock from the Meadowlands at MetLife Stadium. You are. I'm not. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Probably will. I know I will. What am I? I don't know. I don't know who I'm kidding right here. But anyway, that's going to do it for the Audible. Everyone that came out and set us up, want to thank you guys for that. Want to thank the 2 coaches. Want to thank the 2 principals for stopping by.
Yeah,
and
good stuff, Bo.
Joe will be back. Well, I guess next week we won't be back again because we'll be in London.
We'll be in London unless you want to do a show over there.
Do a high school football show over there.
Oh, I can do soccer over there.
There we go. There we go. Anyway, that's going to do it for tonight. We'll catch you guys on Monday. We'll be back on the air for the Audible after the Dolphins-Jets game. Get you updated on everything that happened when the Dolphins beat the ass of the Jets up there and talk about that a little bit. 2-0 would be pretty good, wouldn't it, Joe? 2-0 would be a nice little start, wouldn't it?
Be a great show. Can't wait. Just to rhyme it up. That'd be fun.
All right, we'll catch you on Monday. Take care. Have a good weekend.